You're on? You can.
I'm on. All right.
All right.
So we still have people trickling in, but we are going to go ahead and get started. My name is Brianna Harris. I'm so happy that you were all able to join us today. I have you muted right now, but we can unmute in a minute. I would like to start by introducing Brendan McKay from McKay Mortgage. He is our host today, and he is going to help answer questions, give you guys some insight as to why he chose ARIVE, what his favorite features are, and different aspects of ARIVE. After he does that, we will then open the floor for questions from everyone. And any insight feedback, it is your time to have the floor. But we're going to start with Harish introducing Brendan.
Yeah, thanks, Brianna. Again, welcome everyone. Good evening, happy Friday. So thank you for taking time from your busy schedule. One of the things, as you might see, we have these ARIVE Connect meetings every month. So we are trying a new format. We will invite one of ARIVE power broker or power user. So we picked Brendan first. So they'll talk about their experiences, how they've used the platform, best practices, share any knowledge. I know Brendan for quite some time. I think I met him last at Fuse. We were talking about ARIVE, and he said, you know what, I'm kind of interested, but my job runs well, so I don't want to take on changing platforms. So we'll hear from him what prompted him to actually make the move. Brendan is a pretty well-known person in the broker community. He's the president of AIM Broker Advocacy, if that is the correct title, and he has his own broker shop. He's a big advocate of ARIVE. We appreciate his participation. So with this, I'm going to hand this to Brendan. So go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Harish, and thanks everyone for coming. I'm Brendan McKay. I'm the broker under McKay Mortgage, and as Harish said, I recently took on a leadership role with AIM that I'm super stoked about. But as far as our brokerage, we're based out of Bethesda, Maryland, which is essentially a suburb of Washington, D.C. We're a completely referral-based business. We've been a brokerage for 4 years, and I originated on the retail side of things for 4 or 5 years prior to that. And yeah, it's all referrals for us here. We're a super operationally focused business. My background, as well as the other 2 core members of our team, is in mortgage operations. So underwriting, all that fun stuff. So our focus is on process, which it's going to lead to a lot of the things I say about ARIVE today. I've done quite a bit of business over the last couple of years. Last year I closed 415 units for 180 million in volume. Number 34 broker in the country, which is still very difficult to believe. And right now we're averaging about anywhere from 35 to 45 units a month, and it's flipped from refinance heavy to purchase heavy business. I'm at about 65% purchase at the moment. So that's us in a nutshell. We are very focused on doing things intelligently and efficiently, which coincides with a lot of the philosophy behind Harish and ARIVE and everyone over there. So we've been really, really happy with switching over. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. So I can talk about like how we started using ARIVE and stuff like that. And I know a lot of people on here either thinking about using or kind of the switch. And Harish, I remember our conversation a little bit differently. And it was more like, I've been meaning to switch over to ARIVE, but I'm busy and it's hard. And like, and that was the case for a very long time for us. It's like your origination software is so ingrained to what you do every single day. And the idea of switching to something else, even if you know it's better, and I knew for a fact that ARIVE was better than Calyx at the time that we were doing it, but it's still, I was like, I know it's going to take a while before we're back up to where we are right now, which is not true. I'll tell you in a minute. It did not take very long at all, but like a lot of people, the straw that broke the camel's back was when the 3.4 came out. And we were using Calyx previously, and it completely, they completely dropped the ball is an understatement on what happened. So we saw the writing on the wall and was just like, forget it. We can't even do business with Calyx right now when we know it's the best thing to switch over, and we switched over at that point. And it's been incredible. Like, new technology is difficult, period. That's just, it is difficult to switch to new technology. Change is hard, especially with technology. This was not difficult at all. Within less than, I would say less than a week, I would say we were at the exact same, like we were running at the same efficiency that we were before the 3.4 problem with Calyx. So completely switching software within a matter of 3 or 4 days, we were right back to the same point we were. And then within 2 weeks, we were running more efficiently and faster and better than we were ever at any point prior to. And it's just exploded ever since then. It's been great. Like I said, we're efficiency focused, and I've heard Harish say more than once, like that'll save a click, that'll save a click. Like all these clicks add up, and you know, the more time we save, the more clicks we save, the either more loans you can originate, or the more I can hang out with my family, which is what I would prefer to do. But yeah, that's kind of the story. We were with Calyx and Flowify. We've ditched both of those. We're keeping them active so we don't lose data and stuff like that for at least a little bit while longer. But I haven't logged into either of those platforms in 4 or 5 months now. They're essentially dead for us. It's been unbelievable. So yeah, thank you, Harish.
Yeah, no, I think Brendan, as you rightly said, you know, it's that mentality of you're working in a system which is so built into how you operate. That's what you do, and you know, whether it is Calyx, some other platform, it's really difficult to even think about changing because change is hard, and you know, you have to learn a new system, a new process, a new user experience, and you know, how do I do this? How do I do that? So I think a different system is always difficult for anybody who originates at some scale. So I think, and we have that thing in our mind, like you said. We know this is a challenge to, it's not about cost. It's not about, you know, this is a better platform, like you said. It's about, do I have the time? And, you know, I'm so busy doing loans, you know, 35, 40 units, will I be able to keep up? So I think that's you know, that's how we think about this. Like if you have to train someone, write user guides and manuals, then we have not done a good job. So I think our hope is people just come on, they use the platform. We organize events like this, which are more community events, which are educative and sharing ideas. So that's kind of what has happened. But we appreciate, you know, everything. You know, first of all, making the move is hard. so taking that leap of faith and trusting us, and then speaking on this panel, we really appreciate that. So
no, sure. And like what made the change, a lot of things made the change easier. Not only the support of the community and doing stuff like this, but first and foremost, it's just it's an intuitive platform. Like the same way that like all Google products, like you can just kind of figure them out because they work the way you think they're supposed to work. ARIVE is the exact same way. Like if there's ever a time where I'm like, I don't know where something is, I can find it extremely quickly, because I'm like, it's either in the first place I think it's going to be, or the second place I think it's going to be. Where like keep going back to Calyx, because that's what I know. Calyx had a screen of 45 different menus, and it's just insane. And who knows where anything is in a platform like that. I think we're at 6 on the main, you know, the when you're actually the main 1003 origination part of it. So it's always easy to find anything. Even the first day I was like, oh my God, this is so easy. This is so easy. Where I was using Calyx for 3 or 4 years, longer than that actually, because I use it in retail too. Probably for 7 years I used Calyx. I'd still struggle to find stuff. I would still be like, I don't know how to find this on scenarios that only came up once or twice a year and stuff like that. So, and that not only just makes my life easier right now, period, but it speeds up the learning curve on for new users drastically. If it just kind of works the way you think it's supposed to, you're not pausing and asking questions and waiting to get answers nearly as often as you would think you would be going into a new software.
Yep, no, absolutely. I think one of the things, Brendan, that we do as a company is we watch analytics very carefully. So as the users are using the platform and you're struggling, you're clicking many times. So we collect a lot of anonymous data on click-throughs, and that's what we use to decide how to build the product. Where should this button go? Did my user found it? So we invest a lot of time in looking at you know, frustration graphs and how much time you spend in before you actually could complete a credit report. And then but which has helped us, because as you said, if you build a product where you don't have to write training guides and user manuals, it helps us, you know, increase adoption. We don't have to spend time doing trainings. And you know, Calyx has this training program. We kind of laugh at that and saying, okay, we don't need all that stuff. We build it intuitive, people will find it. So but it's very, very exciting. And also we have an active community if someone is lost, and sometimes we do put things in a place where you have to find it. You post it on our Facebook group, boom, there are like 5-10 responses within minutes. So that's also, at least I believe, that's a very differentiating factor, having all this community collaborate, communicate amongst themselves. So, and what do you think about that? So if you're not able to find something, which happens, so does that frustrate you, or?
No, I mean, no, well, yeah, I guess, but like not in the way it would typically. Like first, like I don't want to read the user manual ever. Like I don't put stuff together. I'm a mortgage broker. Like I sell and I need everything immediately. So I want it in front of me. I want to be able to figure it out, which is almost always the case. And then, like you said, if I do have a question, I'm usually 5 minutes from getting an answer. And I'm impatient. So I want to just be able to ask my question. I don't want to go look it up somewhere, right? So I can go to the Facebook group, I can ask my question, I can go do something else for 5 minutes, whatever, and I come back and the answer's there. There's only so much out there, and there's an incredibly helpful community of people that have had the same problem I have, and they can tell me where it is in 2 seconds. And you have a lot of people that don't mind answering the same question from different idiots like myself over and over again, which I appreciate them very much. You should, send them on vacation somewhere or something, but yeah. So no, it's great. Like it's everything I could reasonably ask for, and more in a software, no doubt.
We just received a question about how do we migrate files from Calyx to Flowify, even if it's a closed 3.2 file. Do you want to talk about migrating your files from Calyx to, you don't even need Flowify, just straight to ARIVE?
So for Calyx, we haven't yet. I don't know. Have you guys figured that out yet, Harish, where you can do a mass integration?
Yeah, mass migration is a challenge. People have 10, 15, 20 years of data. So we are being a little cautious before we open that up. What most Calyx users have done, like you said, Brendan, they've kept like 1 seat open. Let's say you had 20 seats, instead of that, they cut down to 1 seat. And that's how they can go back and look at the files, and you can bring them in one by one right now. So we are looking at putting some migration tools, but our challenge is, like, customers have 15, 20, 25 years of data. So if we open this up, do we only let them bring 2 years data, or so it's a little challenging task from where we stand, but hopefully maybe in coming future we'll think of how do we enable, or we can give this as a service where our engineers can do the migration. That way we know everything has flowed through seamlessly. So I think, yeah, there are options we are looking at, but probably later in the year or early next year at this point, given everything else going on. So
yeah. So Mike, what we've done was, for us, is we've kept 1 Calyx seat open, which I would recommend. But we've also backed up everything to Excel files. So we have Excel spreadsheets with literally every loan that we've ever closed through Calyx. So we have that as well and we'll just, I don't know, it's like $60 to keep the seat open or whatever. So we're just going to keep it. And then the Excel file, I don't know if something weird happens with Calyx, our assumption is that whatever integration or migration you guys are going to roll out, it'll probably be an Excel sheet we can probably get it done with. But we'll keep the seat open just in case is our current plan.
If anybody else has other questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask, speak, or if you want to, you can pop it into the chat, whichever you're comfortable with.
But yeah, and I can keep talking in the meantime. If all these people just came to hear me speak, I'm more than happy to oblige.
I got another question. I was going through a previous demo that you guys did back in March, and on the place where you can compare loan options, is there any thought toward, because I use, a lot of people use Mortgage Coach, I use Borrow Smart Analysis. You guys are almost doing the same thing. The only difference that you're not doing is putting in a time frame, like say in years, on the ability to compare loan products side by side, meaning, it defaults down to the lifetime cost for the loan. But what if the borrower's only gonna stay in the house 7 years? It would be nice to be able to plug in like 7 years, so it would be able to scale down the cost of those loan comparisons over that period of time. And to be honest, I guess I'm being a little bit selfish, but I'm trying to get rid of another account that I've got signed up for. If I could just and the adoption rate with my loan officers would be a lot simpler because they don't have to build out somewhere else. They could just build it right in there, and processors would be able to see, you know, the options or whatever the case may be. Do you follow? And is that something you guys have ever thought about?
So maybe I'll probably start, and then so Brendan and I had a good conversation,
Yeah.
I think a few weeks ago on loan options, and what he has a nice spreadsheet which he uses, which and it's very well done in terms of you know, what the borrower sees and how can you explain that to him, what kind of fees are being charged. So that from, you know, I believe Brendan still uses, you still use your own version at this point, is that? Yeah, because you know, you're comfortable with that, you've been doing that for years, you're able to explain that on a Loom video or a Zoom call. So Mike, to answer your question, yes, that question has come up, like the system does total cost analysis, you know, how much interest, your savings over life of loan. Can we plug in some years, like 5, 10, 15 has come up quite often. So,
Okay.
so that option will come. I don't have a time, but we'll give a, you know, drop down instead of a checkbox. So right now there's just one checkbox says select or don't select. Instead of that, there'll be a checkbox, and then we'll ask you how many years. So you say 5, then we'll, so that is under consideration at this point. But like you said, you know, we build these comparisons, and we got so much feedback on adding for these columns did not exist, or these rows as you see them. So they were added like a few, then there was a comparison added. What if I'm competing with somebody else? How can I add a comparison? That was done, you know, a month ago. So, but this is good feedback. That's what drives ARIVE. We get all this great feedback from our community, and if everybody is saying so, then we put that in. But yes, you can expect this around end of Q3, I would say, or September, October. Like you'll be able to select the how many years you want to run the total cost analysis, and you know, get to that.
That'd be awesome. The adoption rate would be huge on that, because it's not going out into a different system and having to duplicate the data, because that's a problem. And my adoption rate with the LOs, I got to create, you know, training videos, et cetera, on how to plug and balance these TCAs in different systems. You guys already have it in there. You know, the only lacking point that I can see is being able to define an actual realistic term on how long they're gonna either hold the house or hold the mortgage before it gets refied, so that you're looking at, you know, the costs that the borrowers are really, you know, needing to focus on, not the lifetime costs. Nobody owns, as we all know, a 30-year mortgage. They don't generally keep them for the lifetime, you know. So
yeah, but great feedback.
For what it's worth.
Mike, yeah. So
yeah, no, and I'm with you, Mike, and Arisha have talked about the same thing, and others, you know, things focused on that. Like I like my spreadsheet a lot, and I keep saying, Harish, just do mine, and then I'll use it. But yeah, no, I mean, like I show borrowers 10 years, even if they don't, like, obviously if they say they're gonna be house in 7 years, I show them 7, but even if they say nothing, I show 10, just for exactly what you were talking about. I don't think life of the loan is really a transparent way of looking at things, I guess, but yeah.
Right.
And like what you talked about as far as one less thing, like I know for a fact, Harish, like he would like nothing more than everyone to use his software and nothing else. So anything that'll get ARIVE there, they're definitely working on it.
Right on. Thanks, cool. You guys.
Yeah, man.
No problem. So we've got 2 more questions in the chat. We have, so going from LendingPad to ARIVE, I can import one 3.2 file at a time.
I assume so, Harish. I've never used LendingPad, but I assume if you can import 3.2 files from Calyx one at a time, you can do the same thing.
It's the same process. You can bring in files from any LOS, third-party LOS, as long as you have a 3.2 or a 3.4 file, or even from a POS, you know, customers grab these files, so you can put them in. And that's our challenge. These are very rich files. They have a lot of information. They could be borrowers, co-borrowers, you know, all kind of multiple applications. That's why, you know, mass migration is complex, because they can get very rich in terms of the amount of information which is carried, and everyone will expect everything flows correctly. That's the key. You know, if you're importing files, you'll expect all the data is there in the correct spots. So that's why building mass migration is a little, you know, complicated project. But yes, you can import 3.2 from LendingPad. Absolutely, no questions on that. So and we will keep 3.2 imports. This also comes up all the time. A lot of lenders have stopped getting 3.2 files. I believe we will keep it open for the community, because it's a little bit of support work for us to still manage those specifications. But at least for next 6 months or 9 months, we'll keep the option open where you can bring in 3 to 2 files from any system into ARIVE. So
Awesome. Our next question is, does ARIVE come with Realtor and Borrower Portal for collaborators or for collaboration? Do you want to talk a little bit about the Realtor Portal, Brendan? I know you like that
Yeah, I
feature.
use the Realtor Portal. So yes, there's a Realtor Portal, and you can set it up so they can pull their own pre-approval letters, where you basically set, basic parameters like the DTI can't go above X, or the loan amount sales price can't go above whatever, and then they're able to pull it themselves, which is something I use all the time. If they need one in like 2 seconds, I still like to do the custom ones, but if they can use them in 2 seconds on the tracking live stuff, Harish, I defer to you if we don't use it, if we do, but let me know.
which one?
So can the realtor and the borrower get like live status updates on their files to see where it's at in process?
Yeah.
If you're updating
So we send status updates to both the listing agent and the buyer agent and the borrower. So yes, there are status emails which you can customize, configure, and then on a loan by loan basis, you can decide which status updates should be sent, should not be sent. So yes, we do send reminders and status updates to different parties in the transaction. We don't have transaction coordinator. That complaint comes up all the time at this point. So you can send it to a realtor, but not to his assistant. So that's something we are actively looking to add. Maybe
can they also so there's the emails, can they also go back into the portal and be like, okay, we're just waiting on the appraisal or whatever?
Yeah, absolutely. So they will get an email with a link, and yes, so realtors and borrowers and loan officers obviously can go back into the ARIVE portal, and there is a different experience. So we will not show confidential borrower information to a realtor, for example. He'll only be able to, look at the loan status, maybe some needs pending, where the loan is, what are some dates. And likewise, borrower is shown more information, and loan officer can see everything. But yes, they can pop back into the portal and look at the status anytime. They can upload documents. So if the realtor has a contract, an amendment, or something else, they can self-service and upload that. That will flow directly into the loan file. You don't have to call him and say, email me, all that. But we are looking for more feedback. Realtor portal is very new, maybe a month or 2 old, 2 months old. So if there are areas where we can improve it, I mean, there have been requests to open this up to referral partners like CPAs and financial planners who don't do pre-approvals, but they want to see the status. So that's kind of, so if there are ideas which the community has, let us know, but it is available. It is working out pretty well, in fact. And as I said, it's only 2 months old right now. So.
And if anybody has questions about the Realtor portal, we do have a training video that I am happy to send you. Either DM me on Facebook or send me an email. I'll drop my email into the chat. All right, our next question. Is there an ETA on when the FHA mortgage insurance breakdown on the LE will be fixed? Currently, it's showing a breakdown of MI from years 1 through 9 and years 9 through 30, where MI breaks off after the 9th year, but it should not.
Yeah, so I think that's a good question. Maybe I'll take that, Brendan, if that is okay.
Please do.
Because it's a very technical. So, disclosures were just released a week ago. And, as I said, we put a lot of time and energy. There were a lot of pushbacks. A lot of brokers, including Brendan, said, I never issued loan estimate. Why are you spending? I mean, so that's kind of the, but we know, every broker is unique. I mean, they have processes set up for 15, 20 years. So the answer is yes. I don't have a date. So we are going to carry forward the MI for FHA loans throughout the life of the loan. I think the engineering team built this like conventional. That's why it drops off. So it is looking at 80% LTV and dropping it off. But again, it should be fixed fairly quickly this month, in the month of July. So again, I don't have a date for that. But yes, if you're using loan estimate, I think that excites us. At least somebody is using it. So that was a pretty complex document to build with all this complexity on and different programs. So hope that answers whoever asked, Brianna. So maybe put my specs on. So now I can see.
All right.
Thomas Lynn, that's that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, are we ready for the next question? All right, is there any future plans to pull in rates from our non-supported lenders like LoanSifter does?
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably start. And so, yeah, so we are looking to add more lenders, like Brendan introduced us to one of the lenders he works with. So we are very actively talking to them as we speak. I mean, all these lenders are busy with other priorities. So, and now ARIVE has started getting traction. So yes, if you have a lender which is not an ARIVE, we want to add maybe at least a dozen plus more lenders on ARIVE in next 12 to 18 months. That's what we hope. Two more are coming. I cannot give their names, but they are very close to being announced, I would say, in a couple of weeks, and they are smaller lenders. And this is something we learned. So when a broker recommends to a smaller lender, join ARIVE, it's a much easier conversation because they want to grow, and this is a good platform for the lender to be in front of a lot of brokers. So if you know of any lenders you work with, send them a lot of loans, you want them to be in ARIVE, yeah, please connect me. If you can do a small introduction, we'll follow up.
Well, let me ask you this, Harish. Is it fair to say, like, so ARIVE is definitely interested in like bringing more lenders onto the platform?
Absolutely.
Right. But would you ever be interested in like only having lenders on the pricing portal, but not necessarily integrated with the rest, if that makes sense? So like, basically, would you ever get to the point where we could just ditch Loan Sifter and use ARIVE to price out all lenders, whether they're integrated or not? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good question, and that has come up, and we asked these lenders once. So this is what the lenders have told us. They all want loans. I mean, they want to be seen in the pricing. That's nice, but what they're looking for is the eventual transaction. So it's a very easy conversation. If we are talking to a lender, he said, "Hey, we'll love to get you on the pricing, but by click of a button, that same loan file will come to you." So the answer is yes. We want to increase adoption, but our general strategy is we want to put them at par with other lenders in ARIVE. So that's kind of where we see, and no lender has objected, I guess, from a strategy viewpoint, like, don't send me loans, only show my pricing. So no one has. So even like Windsor Mortgage, you referred, Brendan, they're a little busy with everything else they're going on with their bank, but they're excited. I think there's no concern about the cost and time and all that. So that discussion all went very well. It's a matter of prioritizing. But yes, ARIVE is absolutely open for business. We want to add more lenders. Wholesale friendly lenders is our strategy right now. So that's kind of the catch. So two new ones are coming in next few weeks, and they are small regional lenders. And yeah, hopefully we can add a lot more diversity, if you will, from a lender perspective, non-QM lenders, specialized lenders over next, as I said, 12 months. So
it's awesome.
Harish, real quick, what for everybody who would like to get a lender integrated with ARIVE, what does that process look like for them?
Just email your account. I mean, generally, what this is, again, my experience, a lot of time brokers introduce their account executive to me. That really doesn't go anywhere. So if there is somebody more influential, so we have tried that route. They say, yeah, we'll get back, and then things kind of fall through the cracks. So which is okay. We want to keep relations, but if there is somebody more meaningful which you believe can make a decision, and whom you have relationship with, if you can let him know, like, at least talk to us. They should know. It's really easy. We make like simple for them. They don't have to do a lot of work. So that's kind of our typical strategy. So once a lender comes on, we have the volume. We process like 40,000, 50,000 loans a month, which is pretty substantial. It used to be a few thousand early this year. So we have the volume. We have like 800-900 active brokers. So it's a matter of how do we get in front of the right decision makers at these lenders. So
like all I did for the lender that Harish's reference is I just put him and ARIVE on an email with the decision maker at the lender, and if you don't, or the highest you can go, like if you know the account rep and that's the only person great, put him on an email with the account rep. If you know that person's manager, even better. If you know that person's manager, even better. If you know someone in IT or whatever, like, all those are the people that you want to put on those emails.
Absolutely. I think take it from there. So every touch point matters, like Brendan, every relationship matters. And as I said, more they hear about ARIVE, and you guys, it'll help them, it'll help you. So I think it's a win-win for everyone. It's a matter of prioritizing where this falls into their overall scheme of things. So
absolutely.
Also, if you know other brokers that use that lender and also use ARIVE, like, it's the type of thing, like what Harish is getting at is, like, if all these lenders could snap their fingers and do it, they would, right? But it's it's a little more complicated than that. But squeaky wheel gets the grease. So if you guys are coordinating on putting pressure on the lender together, that's going to make it more likely to happen. And for example, I'd like everyone on this call to tell their account rep at United Wholesale that they need to turn integration with ARIVE back on. The more of us that bitch and moan about it, the more likely it is to happen. So go get them.
Yep.
I may have missed it, but I guess the question is, I understand everybody, or you guys, and I agree, you want to get as many supported lenders as you can into the system so that you can have a direct upload, et cetera, et cetera. But did you say that you were open to going ahead and making it like Loan Sifter? I think they have like an XML version of the rate sheet that feeds into Loan Sifter, and that's essentially how the pricing engine works. So are you guys open to do that on the lenders that are lagging on actually going fully supported with you guys so that we can access pricing from the unsupported lenders?
So we have to integrate with the lender system. So what we have done is the way Optimal Blue or Loan Sifter works is they collect rates from these lenders, and most lenders have gone to broker specific pricing. Like every broker gets their own rate sheet with a nuanced the way they or based on some regions criteria. So yes, we work with the lenders. We tell them whatever you send to Optimal Blue, give us a copy. So that's the approach we are following right now with some smaller lenders, because they don't have time to develop new integrations or systems to support us. So if you have a lender that works with Loan Sifter, it'll be a very easy transition for them to be up and running in ARIVE, if that makes sense. So they
Okay,
just
so
send us a copy. Like you're sending an email to someone, just copy us. That's what we tell them. If you're sending your rate sheets to Loan Sifter, just send us a copy of them, and we'll figure out how to put them into ARIVE, and we'll take the development work on our side, if that makes sense. So.
Well, I think that's how Loan Sifter works, or at least it used to, where in there it had a template and it had a path or an email address to your Loan Sifter account, and you would send that to the rep, and the rep would set that email address up in like my personal rate sheet distribution, and that XML rate sheet would go to my Loan Sifter account and would calculate, the pricing based on that XML feed every time that lender reissued rate sheets. If there's a price update or in the beginning of the day, they're just reissuing that XML rate sheet to that email address for my account. And that's what's cascading into the pricing results, is that XML sheet. Is that correct? Am I understanding that correctly? So I guess my point being is, would you guys have that same functionality to where I could go to my rep and say, hey, forward this rate sheet into XYZ, and then now I got it starting to feed in my pricing engine?
Yeah, so I think it's a good point, Mike. So as you said, the way system is set up right now is we can absorb these feeds, but you cannot send it to an email address. So Loan Sifter has a way by which it can absorb files directly from lender. That's the process we use. It may have something else, like you were saying. So that is not supported yet, like forwarding XML feeds to email addresses. But if you tell a lender these guys want to work with you, it's super simple. We haven't seen any lender complain on the effort they have to spend to get connected with ARIVE. As I said, 2 small lenders will be announced by, I would say, early August. And again, with everything going on, they are excited and they worked with us. It took them 8 weeks total to get them up and running, which is not a lot if you look at a lender and how much time they spend on doing small things. So
all right,
yeah, if you know there's a lender which is good for brokers, which is popular among brokers, at least. So we are looking for little established lenders, at least 3-4 billion in total size for annually. That's kind of but again, if there's someone is really passionate about ARIVE, we are happy to talk to them. But at least we are looking for lenders who are north of 3 billion a year in total volume. So
okay, thank you.
All right, so next, somebody had a question about the mortgage calculator and where you can compare different programs for the borrower. Do you guys want to talk about the mortgage calculator a little bit?
I'll defer to Harish on that one, since
yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe what was that? I missed it. Which?
So they asked, is there a mortgage calculator where you can compare different programs for the borrower? For example, compare a 30-year with a 15-year on a refi.
Yeah, that's a price comparison tool we talked about a few minutes ago. You can run comparisons between different programs, FHA, conventional. So yeah, the pricing engine actually calculates the total payment, the fees, and you can put them side by side in a proper, nicely formatted quotes and send it to your borrower. So yes, that's how that capability exists in the platform, if that makes sense. So
awesome. Okay, next. Some people are asking about UWM and the integration with ARIVE.
I think Brendan just.
So yeah, and someone asked specifically why I got turned off. I assume it with the 3.4 update, something broke, and they're
Yeah.
not currently putting the resources back into fixing it. And what I mean by all that is, it's not like you can send loans to UWM and use ARIVE. Like, let's get that straight. You just export your 3.4 file, import it into UWM, the exact same that you would with literally every other origination software. So what you used to be able to do is literally be able to register your loan, like whatever, you finish filling out all the fields, you do your thing, you're ready to register it and submit it with the lender, and you could click a button in ARIVE and it would register automatically with UWM, and then you just go to the site and lock it, which is like, I do that with all my home point loans right now, and it's awesome. It's just one less thing you have to do. That's what currently needs turned back on, and we just need to convince UWM to dedicate some resources to making it happen.
Yeah, and we have talked to them, and they're not saying no, I guess. But again, you know, it's about priorities, and so we have talked to their IT leadership, so they're all supportive of ARIVE in terms of their. I think there has been some miscommunication, and so I want to make sure they're fully supportive of the project. It's a matter of, I mean, and we know they have their own Blink platform which they want to promote a little more, which is fair from where they go. But so they're still a pretty big partner, and you know, at least the way we see this is 50-60% of the loans in ARIVE still go to them. So they're a pretty big, you know, piece of the platform at this point. So I do want to clarify, there is no such thing like, oh, they have abandoned ARIVE, they're not going to.
No.
Yeah, so that's not accurate. Just trying to make sure. So
they're just busy and have.
Yeah, they're just busy
and need some help, you know, prioritizing. So we're going to do that. Yeah.
All right. Next, we've got under loan and property in the proposed monthly payment section. Can we have the value monthly or annually show exact dollar and cents instead of rounding?
Yeah, it should happen in next, you know, week or two. So we like eating up cents. That's how we joke. so because we were doing these loan estimates and trying to do rounding. So yes, those fees will carry the cents. So the total loan amount and the actual, you know, all these fees add up. So it should happen very quick, maybe in a couple of weeks. And the other thing which will happen is we also used to round off the HOI and taxes. If you put them annually, that also should get fixed maybe in next few weeks. So.
It all comes out correct in the monthly payment though, right? Like,
yes, everything is there. It's just we don't show it on the user
thing.
interface, and people get confused. You know, my loan amount has 64 cents. Total your fees doesn't have 64 cents. Where is this coming from?
See,
So
man, I never noticed that, and I've done a lot of loans through it, so I don't know. Yeah, my borrowers are not doing the math, I suppose.
it is a little annoying, you know. If you're doing VA, FHA loans, it'll pop up, and
Yeah.
so
like with all this stuff, like my favorite feature of ARIVE is, I don't know if this is technically a feature, but like it's a living, like breathing, like platform. So like I felt like on Calyx, they would only update things when their hands were forced and they had to, where like there's constantly updates coming out, and they're you know, new versions, but there's even hot fixes, and like, okay, well, we don't need to wait till a new version. We can implement this immediately live. Like even big stuff, but also small stuff. I asked one time for like a button to like add a borrower's email to my clipboard, so I didn't have to highlight it and Control-C, whatever. Like just a stupid little button, but it's, you know, it's a button I use a dozen times a day, and they put it on within a week. It's just awesome. That, you know, a Calyx has been lipstick on a pig for 20 years or whatever, and ARIVE is just getting better and better and better. It's great.
Oh, thank you. Somebody asked about, do we have any loan calculation bugs that are trying to be resolved? I don't know if you've seen anything.
loan calculation. I mean, in all honesty, there may be some esoteric bug somewhere. It is a complex math. You are looking at, you know, so many factors and you're doing calculations. But if you find something, let us know. To our knowledge, I believe this fee rounding off and HOI and taxes rounding off is annoying. It's not a bug, but it is annoying a little bit. So, but again, you know, if I'm not aware of any bug, if you will, but if you find something which might be sneaking in there, so let us know. So we'll get it fixed for sure. So
yeah, I haven't noticed any.
And then somebody just asked about if there is an app that we can use on our phone for ARIVE, which we can't, but if you want to talk about that it's web-based, anything like that.
I mean, I use it on my phone. It's like I've like been able to send pre-approval letters and stuff like that. Sometimes the spacing can be a little tough and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys are planning on rolling out a full development or anything like that, or making a more mobile friendly version. I like the way I see it, it's an option I didn't have before. So I'm stoked about whatever I get, but I'm not sure what the future plans are.
It's a good question. I think so, Brendan, our strategy is building the full LOS and pricing and all that on mobile is a much a bigger project, which we want to get to someday, but at least taking portions which are more mobile, like the status of the loan or sending pre-approval letters or sending rate codes, instead of trying to build the full 1003 on a mobile form factor, if we can take pieces of the application and push that to mobile, that's our plan this year. Before at least
I think that's a reasonable approach. Honestly, if you just made the pre-approval process better mobily, that would probably 90% of the reason people are looking to use it on the phone, I assume would.
Yeah, absolutely. I think pre-calls. Yeah, exactly. The sending a rate code, you're at a football game, somebody calls you, you want to send a code out.
Yeah.
So those are the areas where we are more kind of looking at, and the full platform mobility probably might be sometime next year. That's a much bigger project.
Because like right now, I can get a pre-approval out on my mobile phone if I have to. It's not my favorite thing to do on earth, but if I'm in a real pickle, I will. Otherwise, I'll wait until I can get back. I'd rather not have to like run to my laptop on a Saturday or whatever. But yeah, we're getting there.
All right, we've got on the HOI, taxes or mortgage insurance calculation. Can you place factors in a template?
Can you place factors in?
Yes, absolutely.
I think so. Yeah. So
yeah. So if you want things to like set up automatically where the file just assumes 1%, 1% for property taxes or whatever you want for HOI, it'll default to that, and then you can manually change it on files as you'd like. I think that's what the question's asking.
I see. Yeah, no, absolutely. That has been there for a while. So you can set up these, but it'll be like one, but it'll carry over in every file. So you can set these.
You can do the same thing for closing costs also. So like we have all of our closing cost templates set up, and I want to get to the point. So it's a little tough for me because I'm in 4 different jurisdictions, but you can literally be like, all right, if this loan is in Maryland, like here's how to calculate lender's title insurance. And all your loans that are in Maryland, the fee worksheet will automatically calculate what it is. Or if it's like transfer and recordation taxes, if Virginia and it's a $200,000 to $400,000 loan amount, you add this much. And then for every dollar it's above 400,000, you add this much. You can do all that. And I can get it. I haven't taken the time to do it yet, but I could get the closing worksheet to the point where basically the closing costs automatically populate accurately once the application's taken and I have the accurate sales price and loan amount in. Which is awesome. I'm sure it's never going to be 1,000% perfect, and you should obviously double check it and stuff like that. But like that's really cool stuff.
Brendan, have you used the fees we put in, the smart fees we call them? Like you can actually click a button which will go to these title companies and escrow companies and all the transfer taxes. And have you tried that yet or?
No, I haven't. I have a very easy closing cost estimator in my platforms. And we've just found, even with the lenders, right? Like all the lenders use smart fees for stuff. And we usually override those as well because we found they're not completely accurate all the time.
Yeah, no, I think we hear you. And, we have the value is, this who pays what and customaries in which jurisdiction. That gets a little hairy. Split 100%, buyer pays, seller pays. That's the value we see. At least it'll get you started. And then you can override and you can actually select which, closing company I'm using, which escrow provider. So we do see a value. That's why we put in, it's available with the platform. There is no additional cost to anyone.
It's awesome that you guys do it. The fact that it's not completely accurate isn't on you, it's on smart fees. So don't worry.
So we followed the home point model. I think, Brendan, you work with home point quite a bit. So that similar idea, you click a button, you see a list, you grab the fees in, and then you can play around with that and settle that. So.
We got some more questions.
Yeah, we got some more questions. So.
Yes, someone is asking, is the issue where borrowers are struggling creating an account an issue that you are hearing about? So do you hear anything about borrowers struggling to create an account?
Well, I do, because Thomas is referring to a borrower that he referred to me that is having an issue with it. But no, honestly, Thomas, it's the first time I've had somebody have any issue with it whatsoever. And I've done dry runs through it myself. It's like the easiest online application I've ever seen before. It's super easy. But we got them figured out on that one. But I'm coming from, I used to use Flowify. I had constant problems with Flowify. It was questions all the freaking time. The only questions I get now are like the questions I tell people not to worry about. It's, you know, it's the questions we all get where it's like, yeah, I don't know. Like, do you want my gross income or my net income? Like stuff like that is literally the only questions I get. 95% of the applications, I have 0 questions whatsoever. And the ones that I do get questions are stuff like that. It's like, it's so simple.
Yep.
Wonderful. How seamless is the AUS import process to run LPA or DO?
So seamless. It's so easy. So like, okay, we used to be on Calyx Point, which you couldn't run DU and LP through it, which meant I didn't do it. So I'm like a pampered loan officer where, right, I originate and I have 5 people that support me and they do all the operation stuff. So like we used to not like the loan would come in, I'd kind of get it sub in point, and then I'd be like, okay, you know, can someone else run DU and LP? And now I do it. Look at me. I actually run it myself. It is so unbelievably easy. You basically never get any errors. And if you do, it's obviously something the borrower did weird or whatever, and it's easy to fix. Tells you exactly what it is. Like 90% of the time, I shouldn't even say that, it's higher than that. Almost every single time, I can go, as soon as the application comes in and I tighten up a couple things. And also, God, it's so easy. Like the 6 tabs or whatever, like if there's something missing from it, it's in red. And it tells you exactly where it is. You put it in, boom, it goes green. You know you're good. It's like a mortgage application 101. And once you've done those things, you run AUS and there you have it, just done. Like one click, super, super easy.
So Brendan, do you use the one-click AUS, which we announced recently, like a few weeks ago? You use that?
Oh yeah, every time. I'm hunting for PIWs on every single file. So I'm always trying to get PIWs. So I run it on both always. And if I don't get a PIW and you know, I'm in there playing with it, even on a purchase, I have all sorts of tricks to try to get PIWs as far as if there's weird down payment amounts and I change the value, even if I'm leaving the sales price around and stuff like that. So yeah, I use it all the time. And like, we're getting more PIWs because like my tolerance for telling my support staff to like, okay, try this. Okay, try that. How about this? How about that? You know, like I'm not going to do that as much on them but if I really want to get it, I'm going to sit there and do it. Absolutely. It's awesome.
Yeah, no,
Wonderful. So does anybody else have any questions? We're all caught up and we have about 10 minutes left. UWM has more flexibility on values versus PIWs on their one click than going directly to DU and LP from Thomas.
I've heard that anecdotally, and I discounted it up until recently. Somebody that I respect said it. I haven't seen any evidence that it's actually true, but I don't doubt it. UWM does all sorts of cool stuff. So yeah. So
when you say more flexibility, that means the same loan will get a PIW in UWM. Is that what the?
That's what I've heard. I haven't found it to be true. What I can tell you is I do a ton of loans with UWM. I've never had a loan that I didn't get say I have a loan where I didn't get a PIW on either, and we start doing it with UWM and I get a PIW. I have not seen that, but that's right. That's just, even if I do a lot, that's still a small sample size. So I'm not going to say it's not true just because of that. But yeah.
Go ahead, Harish, sorry.
No, from our perspective, you know, we work very closely with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So we went through a full certification. So again, we are following all the protocols that they told us. So I don't expect, but as Brendan mentioned, if there's something on the back end which has been kind of configured.
The explanation I got was that their deliveries to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are cleaner because, you know, they're better priced at good credit score borrowers and stuff like that, I assume, and that they get more PIWs because of it. I kind of just find that hard to be true, that one lender is getting treated differently than another on something like risk evaluation, which is what a PIW really is at the end of the day. But I don't have anything other than my logic to stand by.
All right. Next, can the borrower fill out a 1003 application through the portal?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
No doubt. There's an online application. I ditched Flowify once we started using once we started using Arrive. I no longer use Flowify. There's an application. You can both send them a link, which is what I do. I just put the link in my template. I have my email template where I'm like, fill out the application, blah, 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 blah. Or you can go into Arrive, put their email in, and it will send them an invite through Arrive to fill out the application that way as well.
Awesome. So like I said before, that's the end of our questions. If anybody else has anything else, please ask now. We have about 9 minutes left. But Brendan, do you have any closing remarks, anything else you want to mention about Arrive?
No, yes, for sure. Let me see. So I'm just trying to see what I haven't already touched on. I mean, it's just fit into our process incredibly well. Like, you mentioned in your email to me, like talking about cost. I don't know. I don't pay attention to it. All this stuff's nominal as far as I'm concerned, cost wise. It's less, right? Like we've gone down the one seat on point. We haven't gotten rid of Flowify yet. Just I'm always scared of losing data, and like the cost is minimal. But yeah, obviously, Arrive is gonna not only is gonna eliminate like needing other things. So you should be looking at it that way. The ease, I never have to waste time trying to find things. It's reducing clicks. Like I loved it when Harish said that, because like I'm always like, all right, how do I do more or do the same? I'm not even necessarily trying to do more business. How do I do the same business in less time? And when they talk about like reducing the number of clicks, like that's the type of granular stuff that I'm thinking about, and I love that they are as well. All the features are just unbelievably seamless, and like we've gotten to the point now, like yeah, we had some questions in the beginning. Like I was really happy with the integration that we had with it, but like anything else, we're gonna have some questions. We couldn't quite figure out everything on our own. The questions were answered extremely quickly. We just went through the community for everything. But now we rarely have any questions. Like, I don't know the last time I posted something on the Facebook page being like, I don't know what's going on. How do I do this or whatever? It did not take very long before I felt like I had the software mastered.
Wonderful. Yeah. And I know for some people getting started, we have created some tutorials and different things. So feel free to post in the community. If you're not a part of the Facebook group, please join. It's Arrive Mortgage Brokers, really great community. Get feedback, questions, anything you need, or just email Brianna@arrive.com, and I'm happy to send you anything over to help you get started and understand the platform.
And Brianna, you're also organizing these onboarding classes every week. You want to talk about that? So if somebody wants to learn the platform, they're free for everyone. Every week, I think 3 or 4 times we are having them. Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
Yeah, so 3 times a week we offer. You start off with a demo, and it's a live demo Q&A. We encourage you to interrupt our support experts throughout the demo to get all of your questions answered. And then following it, we do offer 1 free training session to just finish up getting any questions that you have. So we do offer that there. Like I said, just reach out to support@arrive.com or email me directly, and we can get you all set up with everything that you need.
And just to add, so another thing we're trying to do is, how do we get our community set up faster without charging a setup fee, a training fee, an implementation fee, and this fee and that fee. So I think getting adoption is very, very important to us at our early stage. We just completed our 1-year anniversary, by the way, if for those who are new to Arrive. So it's just 1 year old as a platform. So we're doing our level best. How do we get more adoption in the broker community? So
yes, and we'll be holding these connect meetings, once a month. So if you have an outstanding question, you need anything answered, bring them to the connect meeting. It's generally going to be the first Friday of every month. This month it was 4th of July, so we pushed it back. But we also have Arrive University, which is a bi-weekly webinar that goes over new integrations and updates. And if you're in the Facebook group, you will get a registration link. And we're also doing monthly email newsletters. So all the registration links, anything you need is going to be right there. We want to keep you as informed as possible. All right. Well, that is about it for today. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And thank you, Brendan, for hosting. It's been a really great session.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Thank you so much, Brendan. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
All right,
thank you.
Everyone. Have a good weekend.